go. Okay then. So let's begin, of course, as we always do, by setting our posture. So if we bring our feet to roughly hip width, take a little spread out through the toes, so we're feeling that nice connection through the toes, but also through the rest of the foot area. And of course, we're standing up nice and tall, lifting and lengthening, but without being tense. Relax, soften the shoulders and the knees. Bring the hands onto the belly and let's just start to come into that awareness of breathing for a moment. So we're just noticing normal natural breath to begin with. We just feel that nice gentle rise and fall. Then we go a little bit deeper into our Pilates breathing, of course. So we inhale, feel the belly, maybe the ribs a little bit too, and then breathing out, encouraging the breath away, and we'll stay with that. So let the arms relax, bring the arms up into a nice big circle. Now we're going to breathe with that. So inhale up and exhale around. So straight away, we're coming into that awareness of breath and movement. As we check into the body and see how everything's feeling, we're also starting to get that combination of Pilates things that we have to think about, breath and movement together. So one more time here, nice big circle, and then we're going to take it straight back the other way. So inhale, big stretch for the chest there, exhale round. So we are encouraging these circles quite big. We want to make them stretchy, I suppose, for want of a better word. Stretch around so you can feel that nice opening of chest and shoulders. We'll just take a couple more through here. There, one last time. And then let the arms relax down. Just give the shoulders a little shake to let them fall back into their natural position. Then bring the hands onto the hips. We're going to slide the hips from side to side. So I'm mainly staying fairly still in the upper body, shoulders moving a little bit, but mostly I'm trying to get this sliding of hips, get a nice little bit of lengthening in the low back, bit of loosening in the side of the body. And then that's going to bring us back to centre. So we go the other way. Hands onto the hips then, as we tuck and we tilt. With this scooping action, strong in the abdominals, stretching through the low back, stretching the tummy, lengthening there. So it's finding those two extremes, reminding our brain, reminding our bodies about the position of the hips. We're going to settle into middle, tailbone down, hips level, and then let's rise. So just have a little float up onto your tiptoes. See how that feels. Float very slowly, we're aiming for anyway, down into our flexed foot position, of course, and then we're floating up, down, whoops, and flexing. So we're going to just take a little moment here, up, down, and flex. So it's a combination, yes, challenging our balance, but also just nicely mobilizing into those toe joints and the ankle joints, getting a bit of stretch and movement through that lower leg. Let's take just a last couple. Just keep the rest of the posture nice and relaxed. Final time, float, control, and flex to finish. Plant the feet, bring the arms up, swing down through, breathing in on the way up, breathing out on the way down. Stretch up, swing low, inhale, and exhale. We'll take a few more here. So this next one, last one as we swing through, reach up and then just open those arms out again in that nice slow backwards circle. Step the feet out, take a nice twist. So we're lifting up the back foot and that will allow the whole body to spiral round. So it's a very fluid, relaxed twist, hopefully this one. Let's take a couple more. We're going to come back to centre and relax it out there, giving those shoulders a little wriggle, the arms and the legs a little bit of a shake out. So we want to feel that little bit looser, a bit more connected into the body. And we're resetting our posture then so that we're back into just nice tall standing position with a bit of softness in the knees. So from here I'm taking my palms to face up towards the ceiling, slightly below the shoulders, not too high because I don't want to create tension there. And I'm opening out first, so drawing back, breathe out. Take a breath in, and then as you next exhale, turn into a nice rotation and then round to the other side as well. Come back to the front, close the hands. Now go to the other side when you twist. So open and then twist the other side first and then come back round and then back to the beginning. Stretch those shoulders. So it's repeated, repeated repetitions of that shoulder squeeze, that nice big chest stretch. We try and maintain that position so we come back together, give them a bit of release before we then activate them again. And then of course we come back into those nice turns to either side. And we're going to try to go a different lead side each time. We may forget and do the odd one the same way, but it won't matter too much. As long as we're roughly alternating. We're going to probably be coming into our last couple now. So just be aware of your breath. We definitely need soft knees here. Where am I up to? Oh yeah. Have to focus to remember which side you're going. So this next one's going to be my last one, and that will be me even to both sides. So from the final twist, I come back to centre, close together. Oh, it's quite tiring on the shoulders and arms. Let those arms release down, and then we're going to be heading onto the floor. So you can come on down, just take a moment to get yourself set up. If you normally like to support your head because it feels more comfortable, if you have any additional props that you like to use for things like shoulder bridge or hip rolls where we've got knee prop options, then of course you can do that. And yeah, if you've got a drink or anything you need as well on the way down, then that's going to be fine too. Okay, I'm just angling right at the camera as well. Okay, so from here, we're onto our backs. I think you're all already there, you've beaten me. So we come down into our nice normal setup position, knees bent, feet on the floor. And the first thing we do, we make sure that the body is comfortable, because we just want to be naturally in the posture that we fall into, basically. That's our neutral, the natural position of our own bodies. And then we've got the hands onto the belly. So the second thing we do, of course, is always to connect into our breath. We've already been aware of that, but it's a bit easier when we're on the floor. So I'm thinking normal breath, and then I'm going deeper. So that as we inhale, we'll feel that little bit more expansion around the bottom of the ribs and the belly. And then as we breathe out, we're encouraging the exhale, and that's where you get that natural drawing in or bracing type effect through those abdominals. Okay, so we're going to float up one leg and the opposite arm with the palm of that hand or that arm facing forward. So rather than in like a circle, forward like a toy soldier. We're going out into a long stretch today. So we're pushing out as we breathe out, and we're breathing in as we come back in. Now, I'm doing single leg, of course, single arm demo. So I'm thinking stable pelvis. I'm trying to create as much space down through the body as I can, from fingers to toes. And I might do about 10 or 15 and then change sides. If you're normally doing tabletop work, you'd need, of course, both legs, both arms up. And then it's the same thing. Stable pelvis, ribcage control, breathing out, breathing in. But, of course, you're alternating from one side to the other. So they're the same movement, it's just up to you, and mainly it's going to depend on how strong your back feels, how comfortable you are with either the single leg or the double leg work. And like I say, that's up to you, and you'll know your bodies and where you're normally working and where you ought to go with that. So I'm going to give you a bit longer, keep going. Like I say, if you're doing single leg work, you're going to be probably doing roughly about 10 or 15 reps. So I'll be giving definitely enough time to do that much, and then if you're doing two leg, you might even do a few more in that time. Okay, so it's a nice combination, this one, of Really feeling that Pilates control, that stable pelvis, rib cage on the floor, but then at the same time, the nice stretching element, the really lengthening. So we're getting two nice things happening at the same time. Strong center challenge with nice big stretching, and then of course the breathing is always bringing it all together to make a even stronger abdominal connection. Very nice. So you're probably getting near to the end. When you've finished, of course, you'll just be coming into your rest position. So come on down to the mat when you are ready. If you're still going, don't worry, that's fine. And your rest may be just that, it may be just purely resting. It's a good chance to just go into the breathing for a moment, be very still, and let the muscles release. Or you may want to use the time for some stretching. Okay, very nice. We're all done now. We've all had a bit of a rest. So we're coming into our shoulder bridge now. And this is basically the opposite of what we've just been doing. So now, instead of stabilising the pelvis and keeping our spine and everything very still and in alignment, we're going to be trying to do the opposite and get it moving, get those spines moving as much as we can. So you may want your knee prop that I mentioned earlier, so I'm just going to pop mine into there. It's not essential, you can do shoulder bridge just as well without it. I'll talk about that in a second. We do want the heels a bit closer to the bottom, so we get a stronger push through the hips rather than the legs. So nice relaxed arms, of course, Pilates breathing, and we're going to roll the pelvis first. So it's flattening through the low back, scooping that tailbone up. Try and scoop towards the ceiling, but then even more exaggerate and think of scooping your tailbone towards your nose. As you're doing that, you're getting strong glute activation, that's our bum muscles, legs, hips, abdominals, back, all of that really strong. And then on the way down, we're keeping that strong activation by still scooping the tailbone as we roll down through the spine. So it's all driven from the hips, but what actually moves, of course, is your spine. It rolls up and it rolls down, and that's what we're after. Of course, and I can see most of you are already doing your options, we do have all of our different variations of shoulder bridge. So you may be doing some arms, stretching back, and then it's up to you if you prefer to leave them behind you as you come down, or does it work better for you if they come with you? And either of those is fine. Leg work, if you're feeling super strong, want that lower body challenge. If you're doing a knee prop, you do a diagonal leg kick there. If you're not doing the knee prop, then you go knee and leg up. So they're basically the same, but just a slightly different position. The only thing I would say is if you're not using a knee prop is just watch that the knees stay under control, because often with shoulder bridge they have a natural tendency, and this happens a lot, just the knees slightly wander apart a bit, and that's why I tend to offer the knee prop option, because it keeps those knees under control. Normally if I'm teaching in real life classes, although that's been a long time now, knees is one of the things that I would always go round and just sort of gently encourage people's knees to come in a little bit closer. They're not actually touching, but they do want to be lined up with the hip. So that's why online I've been using the knee prop a lot more, just because it helps with that correction. So we are looking good on our shoulder bridges. Like I say, you don't have to use knee prop, but now you know why I offer it. It just helps control those knees a bit. But yeah, either do or don't. It's personal preference really. Same as with the arm position. Are you doing some arm options? Are you doing some leg options? Are you taking it all away? Particularly if your back is tight, sometimes basic shoulder bridge, roll up and down and don't worry about anything else, can be really useful. Okay, they're looking good. So I'm going to say just a little bit longer with shoulder bridge now. So maybe just another couple of repetitions to finish off if you are still going. As always, when you're done, you're just enjoying that nice bit of time to either rest or stretch. Lovely. So maybe a little bit of a curl up or a stretch out, just wherever you want to be for a moment there. We're done. Right, let's roll over onto our sides then. So you'll be coming over to roughly face me for the first slide. You can always roll away in a moment. So we're going to come into a nice straight line. I want to think about our posture, so same as we would in standing or sitting or lying on our backs. We've got this lengthening feeling down the body. There's a couple of options in a moment. So if your hip is tender, sometimes it can help to just rest the bottom leg down or roll slightly back so you're a bit more on your bottom than your hip. But unless you need to do that, we're staying sort of more in a straight line. So we're going side raises this week. If you are resting your bottom leg down, then you're going to do a single leg raise. So we lift the leg, we extend the arm, and we're breathing out as we go into that stretch position, breathing into lower. If you're okay resting on the hip, then it's basically the same thing, but both legs. Breathe out to lift, breathe in to lower. And you can play around with both of those options. You can keep support. So I did demo both of those without support, but of course, if you're a bit wobbly, like I just was, it can be legs only. So either single leg or double leg. But you've got that little bit of, I would say, quite light support. You wouldn't want to be lots of pressure on that hand. You still want to feel that your balance is getting the challenge. So even if you're supporting, you're keeping it quite light. So you feel maybe a little bit wobbly still. But yeah, I think most of you are doing the arms anyway. So I'd say single arm, really encourage the stretch with that one. Well, actually both of them really. So when we're lifting, we're also thinking length. Woo. It's not ideal to be talking and looking at different things while you're doing it. Hopefully you guys are a bit more stable because you're able to focus a bit more. We'd probably go somewhere between about 10 and 20, with the side work. I normally say quite a big range on side work, just to try and give everybody the chance to get to their maximum, if possible. So we've got nice strong side work, strong abdominals and back supporting, strong hip and thigh as well, of course. With side work, we always stretch, but it's particularly useful with this one. I always like to do it on side work anyway, because while we're here, it's a good chance. But I always started doing it initially for this one because you've got this strong work here. So when you have finished, the hand comes over onto the wrist, pulling away. Nice big long full body, bit of deeper breathing. Trying to stay balanced. And once you've done maybe 3 or 4 breaths is probably enough. So they're quite deep breaths, so that will be a good amount of stretching. Then you can relax, of course. You might already be done. Okay, I think we're done. So we're going to come to sitting. We're staying with this centre focus now, but of course instead of it being this way round. Generally when we're sitting, it's this way round, so it's that control of the twist that we're after. So for this one, we're going to have relaxed legs, whatever position legs you like. And we're going to also have fairly relaxed arms. So if you interlace your fingers, soften your elbows, and the hands are more at chest height rather than shoulder height. So I'm sort of down here and then extended forward. So that's probably a bit easier to see from the side. And my focal point is here into the fingers. So breath in to prepare, breathing out, turning all the way through this midsection, everything moving together, breathing in to come back, and breathing out to the other side, breathing in to come back, and so on. And we're just going to keep going through that nice twist. So, as is always the case with our seated twist work, combination of the twist with the breath gives us that really strong abdominal connection. So we're going to be working strongly into the centre. Back, of course, footing. Then the muscles that go round the centre, of course, they're helping to do the work of the twisting. But then you're also getting this nice mid-back work. So that's your thoracic spine. We're trying to encourage that little bit of movement through the spine by turning the vertebrae side to side. Kind of gives like a little bit of massage effect almost into the discs. Okay, so we're going to probably take a few more twists here, then we'll be ready to go to the other side in a minute. So just probably last couple now. And once we have done our last one, we come back, we relax. Hopefully there wasn't too much tension in the shoulders, but we always give them a little wriggle out just in case. And then we'll come back to the side. So swivel around. So you've got your single leg option, your double leg option, arms moving or arms supporting. And yeah, nice straight line, of course. So we're breathing out as we lift. We want the exhale with the effort and the inhale on the release. There. And ooh, feel myself going on that one. I'm always more wobbly on this side. Probably I need either single leg or a bit of support on this side. So it won't necessarily always be the same, exactly the same on both sides. You might find you've got a bit of a better side and a not so strong side. So again, numbers anywhere between about 10 and 20, of course, we did before. But really, we're going for feel. We want to, feel into that work, and hopefully we do manage to get to our maximum. Good, looks like we're getting near to the end. So as before, once we've done those last couple of reps, we take that arm overhead and we encourage it even more by actually pulling onto that wrist. So we're holding onto the wrist, pulling the arm over, and again, it might just be about 3 or 4 breaths, but that's enough. With quite a deep breath, that'll be a good amount of stretching to really bring a nice bit of length into the side of the body, or all the way down the body, really. Rightio then, we're going to be rolling over onto our tummies. We're going to think about some nice shoulder strengthening work here. Well, not just shoulders, but that's the main focus, but there's lots of other stuff going on too. So we're going to come over onto our front and rest, or setting up in a rested position to begin with. I've got the chin slightly tucked in, So the nose, or the whole of the face really, is looking down towards the floor a few inches up. I'm not completely falling into the floor, I'll be a little bit raised through the upper body. But I do want to try and keep this head position fairly relaxed through the lower body for this one. And we're going into breaststroke today. So for my single arm, I'm going to pick up one arm, support my body weight a little bit with the other one, and I'm aiming for this one to go long. So I'm taking that forward stretch as much as I can. Out into that little semicircle, and then a strong squeeze into the ribs. Other side, of course, stretch it long, sweep it around, strong squeeze into the ribs, and then just keep alternating. Both arms are, of course, the same. Stretch, sweep, squeeze, and then just keep going now. Now, breath-wise, just have a play around with it. I tend to inhale at the beginning here, and then do one big long exhale for almost the whole thing. But you could inhale away, exhale, pull, or opposite even. There is effort all the way through this movement, whether you're doing single or double. So the best thing to do is just, like I say, be aware of your breath and find a pattern. What you'll notice with the two-arm version, of course, is that in order to stay there and keep the weight of the arms up as well, you're going to be switching on into the low back, the bum and the legs. So if that's not comfy, we've got that single arm option where the arms are working just as hard. So yeah, it's about what's comfortable really, where you can do good technique. So it's almost the same as actual swimming in the water, hence the name breaststroke. But you're exaggerating a bit more, not so much the pull back, but the pull in, the squeeze of the elbows into the ribs. Okay, we generally try and do just as many as we can, so that's going to be very variable for you all, so I'll just keep you going a bit longer. At some point, of course, your shoulders or maybe the lower body will get to the point of no more. So we'll just have a little rest and release there for a moment. We're looking good. Well done, everyone. I think we're all pretty much done now. Good job. So from here then, placing the hands underneath the forehead, so they are now supporting you to keep the weight of your head just nice and relaxed really. So your neck and your shoulders can be soft. Legs are extending straight away behind, and we're going into a one leg kick. So I lengthen the leg first. Imagine somebody pulling your foot away. So your leg stretches out, and as it does, you'll feel those muscles tightening up, so particularly the bum muscles, and the leg will hover off the floor a bit. We then flex the foot, so that's pulling heel to bum with toes down rather than toes up, so flexing there. Then we point to go out. So again, there's effort both ways, although there's more on the way in. So as I lift and pull, that's the exhale. And then as I stretch away, that's the inhale. So I'm breathing out, lengthen, lift, squeeze and pull, inhale away. And we just keep alternating there. Probably in the region of about 10 or 15 each side. So I'll give you plenty of time to work through those. We're trying not to have any additional movement elsewhere in the body. So you're trying not to have your hips like rocking side to side, but keeping a stable pelvis, much the same as we did earlier when we were stretching the leg away on our back. Same sort of thing here, we're challenging that stability, we're holding the pelvis stable, and we're using the muscles strongly to do the movement rather than hoisting it or making it happen from the body. Looking good. Okay, very, very nice. Okay, I think we're getting near to the end of those now. When you have finished, just tuck the toes under. So we just take a moment to allow everything to soften. So with the toes tucked under and the heels up, that gives us a good position to just rock through the hips there, just nice and gently, side to side. Trying to be soft, of course, here through the low back especially. We can let the legs go a little bit with that as well. Okay, then we're coming up. So let's bring the hands in, press ourselves up into all fours, and just for a moment, take your own time to work through cat and cow and side to side hip slides. All the while we're just breathing gently and easily. We may be holding any particular positions that we need to a bit longer, or you may prefer to be a little bit more fluid and just have that continual motion. And it's really just whatever's comfy, where your back feels good. Very nice. So once we've done a little bit of all of that together, up and down, side to side, putting it all together, then we've had a nice bit of movement through the back. You slide the hands forward, bottoms in the air, and then from here you can either stay in this high hip position, or if it's comfy for the knees and hips, you might prefer a lower, dropped hip position to child's pose. Either way, breathe there for a moment. Okay, let's slide those hands in then. The hands are coming by the knees so that we can push ourselves up, or press ourselves up all the way nice and comfortably. We'll give the shoulders a little wriggle there. We're going to come back down to the mat. So maybe grab a drink on the way through if you need it. And we're going to just head back into our nice, normal, natural, neutral setup position. So I've got knees bent, feet on the floor. I may have head supported, so if you normally need that, then go there. And then we're just coming into a nice bit of breathing connection, of course. So we always want to get that little bit of focus to breath here first before we start to move again. So I'm thinking this time again about stability, so it's back into that control element. And it's going to be quite challenging because we're going same side, leg and arm. So earlier on we were stretching long and we were going opposites. Now we're going same side, but we're travelling out to the side, so it's much harder to maintain your position. You'll need to make sure, your arm will easily drop out of course, but it's going to be your leg where the challenge really is. So you're trying not to, this is exaggerated, but trying not to roll your hips with that. Once your leg and arm have gone to their maximum position, you're going to pick them back up and then just stay focused on that side, probably for about 10 reps, maybe a couple more, couple less, and do it all on the other side of course. So I'm breathing out and dropping away, and breathing in and coming back. Just watch the other leg. So as you're moving this arm and leg, that your other leg doesn't drop out to try and counterbalance. Keep that still and lined up with the rest of the body. Breathe out. You'll end up holding your leg, because your leg won't go as far as your arm. You'll find that adds an extra level of challenge, because you'll end up stopping and just having to hold the leg still before you bring it all back together. I think we're not too far off 10, so maybe another couple more. But whenever you're there, just straight to the other side. And it won't always feel the same, so I know for me the left side is easier to control than the right, which is odd because I'm right side dominant normally, but it just feels, it's probably because I've practiced the left side more, because that's the side I demo on. There we go. Okay, keep going. Like I say, 10-ish each side. Focus on that stability. Just go as far with that leg as you can. Like I say, for most of us, the arm should drop comfortably to the floor, so it's really going to be the leg that is the most challenge to control. They're looking good. Of course, when you're done, you'll just be resting and releasing for a moment, just while everyone's finishing off their last few. Wonderful. I think we're nearly there. Okay, so we're staying here. We're coming into some nice, still strong, but a little bit more stretchy focus now. So I'm back into neutral, just nice and comfortable, aware of Pilates breathing. And for the next one, we're going upper body, so we're going separating arm circles. This is where they travel in the opposite direction. So although I want to make really big circles, I also want to make sure the ribs stay connected and I maintain that strong core connection. And that will happen because I'm going to be lifting either one leg or two legs, depending on where you normally prefer to be. The arms are coming up then, palms face towards one another, but they're going away to start with. So nice big long stretch. Then we sweep out, creating that circle to swap them round up to the top, cross over, stretch, sweep, and then we keep going there. We will do both directions. So you can go anywhere with this one up to 20 as a maximum this way, and then go back in the other direction. So it probably 10 each way is going to be your minimum. But you could go anywhere up above that to about 20-ish. Depends, like, just how the shoulders feel, how much stretching you want, really. So yeah, big stretchy shoulders, really opening up through the upper body now. But like I say, at the same time, there is still that center connection. The ribs are down, the leg, all legs are in the air in order to provide that deeper abdominal challenge. And of course, we've always got the breathing, bringing it all together as well. Really nice, everyone. Well done. So if you're doing single leg work, of course, make sure you're changing legs when you change direction. If you finished, or when you do, of course, that is your time for your own bit of resting or stretching. We'll all be doing some stretching together after this to finish off with, but you've got time for any specific stretching that you like. Wonderful. Rightio then. Let's bring the knees in first. We're going to come into our little low back releasing. So shuffle the hips along the mat a little bit. And you want to hold the knees in but not super scrunched up so the hips are starting to release. And we're rolling. So we're making fairly big circles through there. So we try and cover that whole low back pelvis area with a nice big roll through. We'll do a couple more this way. Just keep an overall awareness with the breath, nice and gentle. And then we'll go round the other way. Okay, just a few more there. That should nicely release that low back. Okay, so from this one, we're going to carefully place those feet back to the mat and take them long now. We really want to open the front of the hips particularly. So we're going to push down through the legs, reach out through the arms and breathe more deeply like we do with our side stretching. As that will help with that lengthening. Okay, we're going to do the same thing, flexed feet, so pull the toes up, push those heels away, feel those calves lengthening especially, but still the rest of the body. Okay, we're going to keep those arms stretching out and just point and flex those feet a couple of times. Then relax the legs and just give them a little shake like we do on our tummies, so they're just getting nice and loose there. Again, the hips can even have a little bit of a wiggle there too. And we're going to take those arms around, big final circle back to the side. We bend the knees in and we roll. So we're going to turn to one side, push ourselves up, and then grab a seat here. So we're just nice and comfortable. We're bringing hands together, we're pushing away, we're getting those shoulders a little bit more stretched before we finish. Okay, we're coming back, we're opening out. So again, it's just that expansion of the chest that we're after there. Okay, that's our last breath there. We're coming into side bend, so stick your bum down. Reach over, really try and encourage that. We had all that strong work earlier. Okay, let's take that to the other side. Reach and breathe, probably 2 or 3 at least nice deep breaths. Okay, we're coming back. We're going to roll those shoulders up. Yay! Great work, everybody. It's lovely to be back and see you all again. So yeah, if you're popping